Hello all, welcome to Get Into IAS, and in this video we are going to deal with the topic environmental pollution. This is a very important lesson. So let's move to the topic. First thing is, what is a pollution? Pollution is nothing but when you excessively add something to the atmosphere or land or water, that is termed to be pollution, in which it becomes unfit for life. So from this definition, you can very well understand the term pollution. So pollution is the addition or excessive addition of certain materials to the physical environment, that is air, water and land, making it unfit for life is termed as pollution. And moving to the classification. Pollution is classified into various types. Let's move. So first one is the primary pollution and the second one is the secondary pollution. An example for primary pollution is DDT. What is the secondary pollution then? Secondary pollution is where certain materials react with some other material. I mean, it reacts with the primary pollutant and cause the secondary pollutant. For example, the PAN, peroxyacetyl nitrate, is caused by reaction of nitrogen oxides and hydrocarbons. So when these nitrogen oxides and hydrocarbons, that is when the secondary reacts with the primary, it forms what? PAN, that is peroxyacetyl nitrate. So the next kind of classification is quantitative pollutants and qualitative pollutants. Quantitative pollutants are natural pollutants, that is when these natural pollutants get in excess, it is called as quantitative pollutants. For example, carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxides are all example of quantitative pollution. Then what is qualitative pollutants? All the man-made pollutants are called as qualitative pollutants. For example, the DDT, pesticides, insecticides, all are man-made. And the next kind of classification is biodegradable pollutant, non-biodegradable pollutant. For example, these biodegradable pollutants are being degraded by microorganisms. For example, the sewage waste are being degraded by what? Microorganism. So then what is non-biodegradable pollutant? Non-biodegradable pollutants are pollutants that are not being degraded by the microorganisms. For example, plastics and glass are example of non-biodegradable pollutants. And then last kind of classification is natural pollutants and the anthropogenic or man-made pollutants. So we've done with the classification of pollutants. Let's move to the air pollution. Air pollution is nothing but you're adding something excess to the air that makes the air unfit for life. So what is happening? Air pollution is aggravated by traffic, cities and then industries. So all these factors contribute to the air pollution. So moving to the major pollutants in the air, the first thing is the carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, CFC, lead, ozone, nitrogen oxide. We've dealt with all these major pollutants in our previous chapters. So moving to the suspended particulate matter. So what is a suspended particulate matter? These are fine solid particles present in the atmosphere. So they will be so fine that when we breathe this, it gets deposited in our lungs and stays for a longer period of time and causes lung cancer. So this PM, particulate matter 2.5 and 10 are very dangerous to human health. And then moving to sulfur dioxide and then lastly smog. So all these are the major pollutants in the air. And next moving to the smog formation. The smog is very important. That is, how is a smog formed? Smog is the combination of smoke plus fog. So when the smoke and fog combines, it causes smog. So the smog is nothing but when sunlight interacts with chemicals present in the atmosphere, this smog is formed. So basically, ozone is an example of smog. So how is an ozone formed? So when the vehicular emission contains nitrogen oxides, so there are vehicles running, right? This emit nitrogen oxides into the atmosphere, and when this nitrogen oxide reacts with the sunlight, it causes smog. That is, smoke from the vehicle plus fog in the atmosphere causes smog. So this smog is caused by heavy traffic and then high temperature and calm winds. Because of calm winds, this smog cannot be carried from one place to another and sustains in the same place, and hence it is aggravated by heavy traffic, high temperature and then calm winds. So what are the effects of smog? That is, the visibility will be hampered in that area, your breathing will become difficult, and lastly, decreased UV radiation. That is, the temperature of that place will go down because there will be no UV radiation coming in, and especially vitamin D deficiency can be found out in the area where there is more amount of smog. So we've done with the topic called as smog formation. So we've done with air pollution and we've done with what is a smog. Now moving to indoor air pollution. So what is an indoor air pollution? Indoor air pollution mainly takes place in home or institution or any commercial indoors. So what is happening is, mainly due to reduced ventilation, this indoor air pollution will take place. So mainly this indoor air pollution is happening in rural areas as well as urban areas. So in rural, it is mainly because of the firewood burning and the cow dung burning. So these two are the major contributors to the rural indoor air pollution. So what is happening is, mainly when the women in the rural area, when they burn the firewood and cow dung, it produces a huge amount of smoke. This smoke will affect the women and the children in the house. So mainly what is happening is, when they burn these, it will release carbon monoxide, polycyclic organic matter, and then formaldehyde. So these three components are the major contributors to the indoor air pollution in the rural area when they burn the firewood and the cow dung. So what are the three pollutants? The three pollutants are carbon monoxide, polycyclic organic matter, and then formaldehyde. And moving to the urban pollution, that is the urban indoor pollution, is mainly caused by construction activities and house care products like sprays. So what is happening is, the construction and household care products will increase the indoor air pollution in urban areas. So we've done with indoor air pollution. Now moving to fly ash. So what is a fly ash? Fly ash is the combustion of solid materials. So when you burn the solid materials, it causes fly ash. For example, when you burn coal or wood, it produces fly ash. And then what is happening? This fly ash rises with air and move to greater regions. That is, it moves to a greater length. And then the fly ash is mainly caused by thermal plants, because in India 73% of the plants is thermal plants which depend on coal. So this is the background for fly ash. And then what is the composition of fly ash? Fly ash contains aluminum silicate, silicon dioxide, and calcium oxide. So the fly ash components are aluminum silicate, silicon dioxide, and calcium oxide. And then how is the fly ash collected? So basically we use electrostatic precipitators which pull in the fly ash, and then the particle infiltrators that is present in the chimneys of the thermal plants. So if it is a thermal plant over here, this fly ash will try to escape through the chimney. So in the mouth of the chimney, you can place the particle filtration or the electrostatic precipitators and take in the fly ash. So this is the collection of fly ash. So what is happening when fly ash is released at a greater extent, or when there is no control of fly ash? So what is happening is, it will get settled on the leaves and crops near the thermal plants, and then that will reduce the plant yield at a greater extent. So this is what will happen when the fly ash is released inside the atmosphere. And then what are the advantages of fly ash? The advantages of fly ash is, it is used as a replacement for cement in the cement manufacturing up to 35%. So when you're mixing the concrete, instead of cement, you can use fly ash up to 35%. And then you can make fly ash bricks which are really lightweight and contributes to high strength. And then you can use this fly ash in wasteland reclaimment. That is, you can fill up the wasteland with the help of fly ash. So these are the advantages of fly ash. And what and all are the policies brought under the government for the main usage of fly ash is to use the fly ash in mine fillings. That is, there will be mine areas near the power plants, any power plant that is using the coal. So for example, if there is a power plant over here, the radius is taken into account. That is 50 kilometers is taken into account. So within the 50 kilometers, if there is any mine area, this mine area should be filled with the help of fly ash. So this is the strategic policy brought out by the government. So we've done with fly ash. Let's move to National Ambient Air Quality Standards. Moving on to the National Ambient Air Quality Standards. These two topics over here are very important. That is National Ambient Air Quality Standards and then National Air Quality Index. So what is a National Ambient Air Quality Standard? That is, the Central Pollution Control Board implemented the National Air Quality Monitoring Program. So this program was implemented by the Central Pollution Control Board, and later what happened was in 1982 this National Ambient Air Quality Standards was prescribed, and in 2009 12 pollutants were added under the National Ambient Air Quality Standards. So what are the 12 pollutants? So these two are the previous year UPSC preliminary questions. So this and this one. So let's deal with this later. Now you should mug up all these 12 pollutants under the National Ambient Air Quality Standards. So what are the 12 pollutants? First one is the sulfur dioxide SO2, nitrogen dioxide NO2, PM 2.5, PM 10, and then ozone, lead, nickel, arsenic, ammonia, benzene, benzopyrene, and then lastly carbon monoxide. So these are the 12 pollutants under the National Ambient Air Quality Standards. Let's come again. First one is the sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, PM 2.5, PM 10, ozone, lead, nickel, arsenic, ammonia, benzene, benzopyrene, and lastly carbon monoxide. These are the 12 pollutants to be noted down. Very, very important topic. Next, moving to the National Air Quality Index. So what is a National Air Quality Index? It was launched by PM in 2015. It was launched by our Prime Minister in 2015. What was launched? National Air Quality Index. So according to this, it started the index, monitoring the index of 14 cities. What happened was, according to 6 category, the air quality was noted down. So according to 6 categories, it is noted down under the Air Quality Index. The index is prepared based on good quality, satisfactory quality, moderate quality, polluted, poor, and severe. So these are the 6 classification under the National Air Quality Index. And then it comes along with the colors. So various colors denotes the each quality level. And then moving to the pollutants, this National Air Quality Index is taken into account based on 8 pollutants. You see, the National Ambient Air Quality Standards is taken based on 12 pollutants, but the same thing, that is National Air Quality Index, is taken based on 8 pollutants. So what are the 8 pollutants? All the 8 pollutants are present here also. That is PM 2.5, PM 10, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, ozone, ammonia, and lead. These are the 8 pollutants under the National Air Quality Index. So this is also a previous UPSC preliminary question. So we've done with air pollution on a whole. Now moving to water pollution. So under water pollution, we have organic, inorganic, biological, and heat that affects the water. So all the excessive things that you add to the water is termed as water pollution, specifically organic, inorganic, biological, and heat. Even the heat that you add to water is called as a pollutant. And then this affects the surface water, groundwater, and the ocean water on a whole. And then coming to the sources, this water pollution is caused by point source and non-point source. So what is a point source? Point source comes directly from the industries or something. Like you can denote where the point source comes from, but in a non-point source you may not know from where the pollution is coming, and hence this is difficult to regulate. But the point source, that is if it is coming from agriculture runoff, you can regulate. If it is coming from a specific industry, you can even regulate that also. But a non-point source cannot be regulated that easily. And then moving to the waste that is deposited in the water, the community waste, that is all the waste from our houses is being disposed into the water. That is a kind of waste. Industrial waste, that is water is used as a coolant in most of the industries, and hence when the water is being treated, it comes down as a hot water. So that hot water, when discharged into the river or ocean, that kills the marine animals inside the water. So that is also a kind of water pollution. And then agricultural sources, that is due to the use of pesticides, insecticides, the run of water will affect the water and that causes water pollution. And then thermal pollution, that is most of our plants in India is of thermal, that is they use coal, and hence that when comes out as an effluent affects the water. And the next one is groundwater pollution. So the exploitation of groundwater, when you exploit the groundwater, it will lead to leaching of arsenic from the soil or the rocks. So this leaching of this material called as arsenic will reach the groundwater and lead to groundwater pollution. So this is termed as groundwater pollution. Next, moving on to the soil pollution. So what is the soil pollution? Normally the soil covers the earth's rocky structure. So the topmost layer of the earth is covered by soil. So when you add excessive materials to the soil, it is termed as soil pollution. So under soil pollution, the soil covers the earth's rocky materials and then that affects the plant growth and humans and animals. So when you pollute a soil, it affects the plant growth, humans and then the animals. So what are the causes for the soil pollution? The main cause for soil pollution is fertilizers. So when you add more and more fertilizers into the soil, it causes leaching of the soil and then that later reaches the groundwater and pollutes the groundwater too. So too much addition of fertilizers will cause degradation of soil. And then the next thing is solid waste. When you dump in a lot of solid waste into the soil, that causes degradation of soil. For example, when you dump in plastics, wood and then glass materials into the soil, it takes a long period for the soil to degrade that material and hence causes soil degradation. And then next thing is deforestation. What is deforestation? So when you cut down the tree, that area won't have the ability to catch up the topsoil. The topsoil is very, very important for agricultural purpose because it contains a lot of minerals in it. And then moving to the next thing, urbanization. So due to rapid urbanization, you kill all the green materials over there. For example, all the trees are being cut down for you to build commercial buildings or even residential buildings. So these are the causes for the soil pollution. And then moving to the source. What are the sources for the soil pollution? First thing is industrial waste. So all the industrial waste are being dumped into the soil. Second thing is pesticides. We already saw about the agricultural insecticide or pesticide or fertilizers. And then the radioactive waste. So all the radioactive materials are dumped into the soil that releases radiation and degrades the soil. So these are the sources for the soil pollution. And the types for soil pollution is agricultural, industrial and urban activities causes the degradation of soil. Next, what are the control measures to put down the soil degradation or the soil pollution? First thing is reduce chemical fertilizer. For example, you can move into natural fertilizer like cow dung or the human waste. For example, the twin pit toilets which were recently in current affairs plays a major role. So the twin pit toilets works like this. So normally you can dig in two holes. So when one hole is being filled up, you close up this hole and this hole stays in for up to 1 to 2 years and hence that can be used as a manure. And when this hole is filled, you can use this hole for your other purposes. So this twin pit toilets are being used in majority of the states. For example, Sikkim is the first organic state in India. And then moving to the next thing, by reducing the chemical fertilizer, you should use biofertilizers like just we saw now. And then you should use the 4 R's. What are the 4 R's? 4 R's are refuse all the non-degradable materials, and then reduce, and then reuse and recycle. So these are the 4 R's in protecting the soil. And then moving to afforestation. Afforestation will hold the topsoil in position. And then moving to the solid waste management. You should dump all the solid waste in the right place and does not degrade the soil. So these are the control measures that are taken to reduce the soil pollution. So we've done with soil pollution. Let's move into noise pollution. So what is a noise pollution? So the unpleasant sound created by people or machines is termed as noise pollution. So when you hear excessive level of noise, that causes irritation. Thus, that is called as noise pollution. So when coming to noise pollution, normally the sound is measured in decibels. So sound is measured in decibels. And lately, 75 dB, that is 75 decibels for a prolonged period can damage hearing. So when you hear for a long time more than 75 decibels, this will cause loss of hearing. And then lastly, the WHO, World Health Organization, has said indoor noise pollution should be less than 30 decibels. So you should be subjected to less than 30 decibels indoor, and hence the loss of hearing cannot be attributed to. And then the next thing is ambient noise level monitoring. So the noise level has been monitoring. So let's see the noise level monitoring. So then the noise pollution rules, limits, what and all. What are the noise pollution rules? So this is a table over here. All the noise that is released from industry, commercial, residential and silent zone, you should be subjected only to so much levels of dB in these zones. So from 6 AM to night 10 PM, you should be subjected to 75, 65, 55 and in the silent zone only 50. And then coming to 10 PM to morning 6 PM, you should be subjected to 70, and then 55, 45 and 40. When you are being subjected to more amount of noise, it will lead to various health effects and sometimes even death too. So what is happening is, what are the impact of noises? So when you have been experiencing more than 70 decibels for a prolonged period of time, you will experience annoyance, that is you will get irritated with most of the people. So you will experience psychological effects, and then what will happen is it will lead to sleeplessness and loss of hearing and finally to death. So these are the impacts of noise pollution. So we've done with noise pollution. Now moving to radioactive pollution. So under radioactive pollution, it is the spontaneous emission of alpha, beta and gamma rays. For example, some elements are present inside our Earth's crust, like the metals and non-metals. Like that, the radioactive minerals like radium, thorium and uranium are present in Earth's crust. These substances emit radioactive rays called as the alpha, beta and the gamma rays. What are the types of radiation under radioactive pollution? So there are two types of radiation. First one is the non-ionizing radiation and the second one is the ionizing radiation. In non-ionizing radiation, the penetration power is less, but in ionizing radiation, the penetration power is more. For example, the gamma rays over here has more penetration power. And then what are the types of the radioactive rays? So the first one is the alpha, beta and the gamma. So this alpha rays can be blocked by a piece of paper. This beta rays can penetrate through our skin, but it can be blocked by a material, glass. And then coming lastly to the gamma rays, the gamma rays can easily penetrate through our skin, but it can be blocked by a huge mass of concrete. So these are the three types of radioactive rays. And then coming to the source, what are the source of emission? So the cosmic rays from space enter into the Earth's atmosphere. So that is one source of emission. And then the next is, as we already saw, that is the Earth's crust contain materials like radium, thorium and uranium which are radioactive, that is which emit these alpha, beta and gamma rays. So these are the natural ways of emission. So coming to the man-made ways of emission, it is the nuclear power plants which emit a lot of rays, and then the nuclear weapons created by various countries, and then the transportation of those weapons or the materials, and then in some places uranium mining is done, that causes the pollution, and then the radiation therapy which is done to humans also causes the radioactive pollution. So all these are the man-made radioactive pollution. And then coming to the control measures, the control measures include the safety measures in which it can be transported very safely, and then the use of therapy can be reduced a little by. And then coming to the safe disposal, what is happening is the nuclear waste materials should be disposed very safely. And then lastly, the nuclear weapons should be banned in most of the countries. So these are the control measures under radioactive pollution. And next, coming to the e-waste. So we've done with radioactive pollution. So what are e-waste? So e-waste are created by the end life of an electronic product. So when you're using a computer, mobile, anything that is electronic, when the life of that electronic product is over, it becomes an e-waste, that is electronic waste. So then when it becomes a waste, you tend to dispose that material. So when proper disposal is not done, it turns into e-waste. So what is happening is, e-waste is safe when recycled by scientific method. So there are various scientific method, that is the recycling process in a scientific way. That method is safe, but it is not safe when it is done through primitive disposal or primitive method. And then coming to the e-waste in India. So according to the Global E-Waste Monitoring Report of 2014, nearly 17 lakh tons of e-waste is found in India. This was just a rough draft, but when comparing to each and every state, it will be more than 17 lakh tons. So according to the Global E-Waste Monitoring, which was done in 2014, what happened was, India had 17 lakh tons of e-waste. And then the larger amount of e-waste was found in the state of Mumbai, Delhi, and then Bangalore, and then lately Chennai. So the top state in e-waste generation is Mumbai, and then second is Delhi, third is Bangalore, fourth one is Chennai. And then the recycling process should be done in an effective scientific way. So in the recycling process, acids will be released. So when human comes in contact with the e-waste acids, that is when they are recycled, when the acid is released, if we come in contact without proper measures or safety procedures, this will affect our health. And lately in 2019 prelims, we had a question relating to the e-waste rules. That is, whichever company is producing any electronic product, it has the responsibility to collect the waste back from the society. So that is one of the rules under e-waste rules. So all these points have to be noted under e-waste. So we've done with e-waste.